This incident dates back to the year 1419, when King Hans of Denmark set out on a sea voyage to enjoy the summer. Suddenly, a massive earthquake struck the ocean, and within moments, his ship sank beneath the waves. The shocking part of this story came in 1970, when researchers discovered the wreckage of his ship. Along with it, they found the skeleton of an oarfish, which was estimated to be from the same era when the ship had met its watery fate. Later, in the 15th century, some fishermen in Greenland were out catching fish when they once again spotted the same mysterious fish swimming near the ocean floor. Just days later, their entire town was submerged underwater. The legend of the oarfish gained further traction when, in 2011, the same fish was spotted near the shores of Japan. And just months later, what happened is no secret to the world. Reports suggest that this very oarfish has been spotted again just a few days ago near the ocean shores. But why, in recent days, are deep-sea creatures, who typically dwell at depths of 16,000 feet, washing up on the shores, lifeless? A particular video from Australia has left scientists sleepless. What is happening in the depths of the ocean that is forcing these creatures to abandon their homes? Is the world on the brink of destruction? And has the giant, mentioned even in the Bible, finally arrived? Today, we will explore these questions in this video. Humans have explored only 5% of the world's oceans, and even this fraction has left oceanographers astounded. Imagine the mysteries and unknown creatures hiding in the remaining 95%. According to researchers, the deep oceans are home to over 2 million species, yet humans have only discovered 250,000 of them. And even among those, there are creatures so bizarre that scientists still struggle to understand them. A bizarre incident recently took place when an unusual square-shaped pattern was observed in the ocean waves. Scientists attempted to explain it, but the implications are unsettling. The strange occurrences do not end there. Earlier this year, on an Australian beach, more than 150 killer whales were found struggling for survival. These are the very whales that even sharks fear, yet they seem to be ending their own lives. When rescue teams tried to push them back into the ocean, they refused to return, as if something in the deep waters terrified them more than death itself. Around 90 of these killer whales have since perished. Now take a look at this fish. If I were to call it an alien, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. In early 2025, Russian fishermen spotted a smooth lumpsucker, nicknamed the Dark Lord, floating near the ocean's surface. This deep-sea fish typically resides 2 kilometers below the ocean, but this is just the beginning of the story. Now, observe this terrifying-looking fish, known as the Black Sea Devil. This creature has a peculiar light bulb-like appendage on its head, called a lure. This fish uses its lure to hunt prey. Usually, this fish lives about 5 kilometers deep in the ocean, but recently, its dead body was found on the Oregon coast in the United States, which happened for the first time in human history. But the story doesn't end here. Just as people were discussing this, another video surfaced, showing an oarfish struggling near the shore. We mentioned the oarfish at the beginning of this video, but why has this fish always been associated with bad omens? Let's find out. This dates back to 2010 when this fish was spotted near the shores of Chile and Japan. A few months after it was seen near the shores, devastating earthquakes struck both these places. Then, in 2011, a Japanese fisherman caught nearly 20 oarfish in his net, but as soon as he closely examined them, he silently released them back into the water. However, one of these oarfish washed up on the shore and died, struggling. And just a few months after this event, Japan witnessed the catastrophe that took over 18,000 lives. Is Leviathan really about to arrive? And is this world taking its last breaths? Before we get to that, let's take a look at another event. While patrolling the ocean, some US Navy soldiers spotted a 30-meter-long oarfish swimming in the sea. They caught this oarfish and brought it to shore. And just months after this event, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Mexico, completely changing the landscape of several regions. Why are all these disasters being linked to an image found on Google Earth, which appears to show a giant sea creature moving toward land? And could it be that deep-sea creatures are fleeing in fear of a giant entity? Let's take a look at Leviathan, which is mentioned in the Bible as well. Now, observe this image carefully. Does it look like just a simple underwater formation to you? When scientists and researchers studied this part of the ocean, they discovered that it was merely an underwater topographic feature, a naturally occurring structure. But the question still remains, why are deep-sea creatures behaving so strangely? And who is responsible for this? The answer is us humans. This dates back to World War II, when some Soviet Union soldiers were patrolling the ocean. They observed that many marine creatures would rise to the ocean's surface together at night and disappear by morning. This phenomenon is called the deep scattering layer. But why does this phenomenon occur every night? The answer is climate change. During the day, when the sun is out, most deep-sea creatures stay in the water. At night, they rise to the surface to hunt. Previously, this mostly happened at night, but according to researchers, these creatures are now appearing closer to the surface more frequently. This is happening because the sun's heat warms the upper layers of the ocean, while the deeper layers remain cold. This natural process prevents the warm and cold water from mixing. As a result, the deeper, colder waters suffer from reduced oxygen levels, forcing deep-sea creatures to come closer to the surface for survival. This is why they are now frequently being spotted floating near the surface. And finally, coming back to the oarfish, after extensive research, scientists and researchers concluded that the belief surrounding this fish is nothing more than a misconception. In Mexico, this fish has been spotted nearly 20 times. While earthquakes have indeed occurred since 1996, they are due to climate change, not because of any fish. We have already wiped out many animal species, and now it's the turn of these sea giants. And it pains me to say that climate change has escalated to such an extent that we humans may never be able to control it again. This will ultimately lead to the downfall of humanity. Hope you like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.